had an issue yesterday with something personal and she can't make it. So she will come tomorrow. So we're going to have about three tomorrow. But hey, you know, some of these songs, you know, they are not correct. When it comes to how to think, you know, they are not correct. Let me just say, I can dance, but they are not correct. Not theologically, not scientifically, not artily. They are not correct. There's a lot of what we sing in church is not
Yeah.
correct. So we need to wake up. You know, I've just been repeating myself. Don't you can hail his name. Olorun Momowadupe means God have come to say thanks. Thanks, a state of gratitude. But when you realize that he is in you, you are, this body is a tent. You don't hug the tent. You go into the tent to say hello to the person in the tent. So it's not this. So when you are crying and you're falling to pieces that, oh, somebody died, somebody died. It's just the flesh. They are totally alive. I promise you. I know we'll miss them. My mom just died. I'm really missing her. It was a big deal for me because I was really taking care of her and she died with me, blah, blah. But I knew when she died, and I shut her eyes, I put her arms, I made sure her mouth was closed, everything. I said, I know you are not there anymore. Because when the heart stops beating, they ain't there no more. They are not in that tent anymore. The tent cannot do anything for them anymore because they can't move their hands. They can't. It's a dead body. It's dust to dust. It's dead. It's dead, and it's just going to rot. And you're going to see the bones. Your spirit does not have bones. It doesn't have flesh. Your spirit man is alive and well and kicking. The day God dies, who God is spirit, then you are dead. And let me just ask, then your spirit dies. And let me just add to it before I bring up the chief tribe master. He wrote a a post and I put it on my profile like, y'all need to go read that post. Then there was another one I saw just before I saw that. And I thought, huh? And like, yo, then I saw it. I said, wait a minute. Y'all, if you're not here tonight, you're going just to be missing out. He wrote a post. I said, eh? And you know what? Let me tell you a secret, Victor. That seminar, I heard God clearly say, call these specific people and talk to them about this specific thing. And this is what you're going to do with them. You're going to take them. I was mentioning to Emeka yesterday too on the webinar that I'm taking you to Dubai. I was shaking like a leaf. I said, how? When? Me. And every time I have said you should increase your prices, I'm also shaking like a leaf. But I have this sense to say to this person and say to that person. It's a sense. Like, it's a sense beyond my five senses. So it's not that, yeah, tell them that they should go, they should now start charging $1.5 million. You know, and I saw it. I saw us in that short retreat on the phone, creating businesses where you are selling your programs for $1 million. I still see it. That picture is not going to go away. But guess what? That's how you will have a sense to say something to somebody. You will not say it because you are afraid they will think this. They will think it didn't really matter to me what anybody thought. And yes, he was honest. He said, of course, I became defensive. He was so defensive. I was like, what did I do? And that's when you say you hear God and you do something. God, I'm never going to do what you say again. It's a lie. Say it and walk. Whether they're defensive. And he said, yeah, I was defensive because he was still working on things at the time. But I don't know what I don't know. I only follow what I know. I've done my stuff and I've gone away. It gave me such it well, it was my flesh that got this actually. I was so happy. I sat there and I said, God, I promise you, there ain't nothing you tell me to do, I won't do. I said, because I can see it's working, it's working. Somebody tells me, but it's working, it's working. Somebody just said it's working, it's working. So just go and do what you're told to do.
Yeah.
Do beyond your physical senses. Just because this is thinking spiritual is not thinking with your eyes and your shoes and stop it. So I don't remember his title either. But we're going to have a casual
Yeah.
conversation. And he's just going to spill. And please take notes. As you know, I always take notes. Mine's always next to me. So when you see me, looking in this direction, I'm writing. I have a red pen and a blue pen. The red one is to tell me this is important, remember. So when I just open my notes, I look at it. And the blue one is to write. So go ahead, sir. What do you want to start with? In between, I'm going to call the other henchman, Namdi. I'm going to ask him a few questions. He's supposed to be one of my guests, but he tried to hide. And then when Benjamin created one of the flyers for him, I thought, that's it. Let's do this. So, sir, I really appreciate your saying yes. Many of the people that are here, I asked them days before, like days, like 2 days, 3 days. I was even trying to change his date. He said, Auntie, I don't have any other day. This is what I'm saying. Yes, just take it. And I took it. Thank you so very much. Over to you, sir. Talk to us.
Okay, so for those who don't know me, my name is VICTOR EKPO BASSEY. My friends call me CTM, as the case may be. I've been doing the same thing for 32 years, more or less.
Yeah.
I've been in love with the same woman for 30 years, thereabout. I've got 3 beautiful girls. And I like to say that I'm a full-time house husband and a part-time businessman. So more or less, that's pretty much it for me. I started out life as a butcher. All right. And the reason why why I started off that way was because I had the great misfortune to go to a seminar that was run by the amazing Sam Adeyemi. And as of that point in time, I was an insurance sales executive, life insurance. All right. And whilst I was there, it was one of his seminars, I think Acres of Diamond. I think Acres of Diamond. I've forgotten what he called it anyway. But long story short, what happened for me there at that event was all of a sudden he stopped. And then he looked directly at me and said, if you're here, you're selling for somebody, what makes you think you can't sell for yourself? And that messed me up. Okay. As every single person who gets excited about the new possibility does, I went into the office the next day, promptly resigned my job. What are you going to do? I'm going to start my own business. What business? I don't know.
Sorry, I have the first question. Did you say the next day?
The next day, yeah.
Guys, don't be delaying, and be asking questions. The next day, okay. Be writing your questions immediately. I suggest you type them quickly because we'll be able to answer as we go. Carry on.
All right. So the very next day I did that. And then I got back, left the office, went back home, and then sat down and said, okay, fine. I'm all excited. I'm going to start my business. But now what business am I going to start? And that became a problem. And so I started asking around, what business can I start? What business can I start? And then my aunt, who I was living with at that time, out of frustration, said, if you want to sell meat, leave me alone. I was like, that's actually not a bad idea. So I got into the meat business. But in my time of being in insurance and then spending a year with a gentleman called Olumide Lawrence, he runs Paragon International Services, Paragon International Schools in Abeokuta, where I served. One of the things I learned from that man was if you're going to do anything at all, you have to learn ropes. You've got to learn the ropes. So long story short, got apprenticed with the secretary of the Butchers Union in Calabar. And I spent about 6 months with him. He got endeared to me because I'm pretty good with financial analysis and marketing, management, accounting, and all of those kinds of things. And his books were messed up. So I helped him to tidy up his books and the way he was looking at his finances, and things just kind of like went up with him. So opened up his heart to me. And then after 6 months, he released me to go start up my business. But at that time also, I conducted extra research. I figured that I didn't want to do the business that we're doing in the and I didn't want to do what they were doing in the market. I had an unfair advantage. I was one of the butchers. So if you're selling in the market, it's very difficult to compete with me based on price. It's people like me that you come to buy from. All right. And I had credit. So what I did was I said I was going to sell on a subscription basis. So different kinds of people. Back in Calabar, there's this saying that if you have meat, you have food. Okay, as long as there's meat in the house, you can always rustle up something and it would be relatively nice. So I put different people on different subscriptions. A kilo of meat at that time I was selling for 500 naira. This thing blew up very, 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 very fast. Okay, but it was the first time I was making any decent amount of money for myself. And it kind of got into my head, and I did some really, really stupid things. Eventually, all my investors wanted their money back, and I had the good fortune to have the money available to give back to them. But now, what was I supposed to do? There's something I have learned over time, and Kemi, probably you have experienced that as well. And with every single person here, you must have experienced that as well. That at different points in our lives, either one of two things will happen to you. You will come in contact with some kind of information, or you come in contact with somebody. That information or that somebody opens up a totally different door for you, and you walk in with ease. It happens to each and every single one of us. The problem is paying attention and being aware that the season has ended and this relationship or this information signals a new season. So anyway, for me, it was the book Multiple Streams of Income by Robert G. Allen. And I didn't read the entire book. I flipped through the entire thing. The only chapter that caught my attention was the one on information marketing and the frame that he said in that book. And that was that every experience, whether good or bad, has commercial value. You just need to know how to position it, package it, and promote it. Every experience. And the idea was that all the bad things that have ever happened to you, don't waste them. You have suffered, you might as well just monetize it. You get? So I sat down, thought back to the whole thing. I knew how to sell meat. Lots of people were asking me how I was making this thing work because I was making an insane amount of money. But I just didn't have any more capital to run it at the level because I was messing up. So I asked a few people again, if I put all these things that I knew about, okay, in a 45-minute CD, what would you be willing to pay for it? Some people said 500, some people said 1,000, some people said 2,000. Now, understand, this was a time in Calabar where set tapes were selling for 50 naira. So I had this 45 minutes per set tape. For those of you who were not born by that time, I don't know how to describe a cassette to you. so, I used cassette tape that was for 5 minutes. I got a set of 10 for 350 naira, borrowed a mic from church, recorded it on my cassette player, and you could even hear a dog back in the background. It wasn't pretty. I labeled it, all right, and I took it to the market for just a little under 1,000 naira, sold off 12 tapes, went, got some more, recorded, and by the time I came back that evening, I had 18,000 naira in my hands. Now, so that it could give you context, the principal of the secondary school that I finished from made 18,000 naira a month. Just to give you context. So someone is asking, what did I record on it? I recorded everything I knew about selling meat. Who you go to, how you relate with the malams so that you can get credit, who is who in the avatar, who you don't mess with, who you don't owe. Wow. Everything I knew about it, I put it out there. And the tapes took off. I mean, it was really, really good money. I couldn't believe that I was making that much money without a lot of effort. So after a while, people asked me, oh boy, now only cassettes, now you they sell, now only meat cassettes, now you they sell. And I was like, well, not that much. I had only just gotten to know Christ at that particular point in time, and I was attending Christ Chapel, and they were teaching me some things that I hadn't really come in contact with before. So I put all of that together on another tape, and I called it The Wisdom of Jesus, Ancient Wisdom for Modern Times. The wisdom of Jesus took off. It was insane. I took a transcript of the wisdom of Jesus, put it online. Got 40,000 downloads within 3 months. I had people calling me from pretty much everywhere. I had people who had come to the wisdom of Jesus as far away as Ghana. I had like some really, really important stories. Then again, I started getting restless. And things were okay, but they weren't completely okay. All right. Somewhere along the line, I got into GNLB. The contacts that I already had, as a result of my tapes and all of that, I did pretty well. And so I was invited over to the Coconut Grove in Ghana. Next door to where I was at in the event was a guy called Willie Crawford. And Willie Crawford just took a liking to me, again, relationships. Took a liking to me. We exchanged email addresses. Now, the email address that I gave to him, I had nothing happen. So I just wrote at Yahoo.
Your voice is fading sometimes when you move. So it goes.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't
Is it better
hear.
now?
No, it's only when you move, when
Oh,
you
okay.
turn, or so it's as if something is low somewhere. Or
Ah, okay. Sorry about that. How
yeah,
about
it
now?
drops
I know.
occasionally. It's okay. It's all right.
Okay, so I'll be
When,
aware of that.
yeah, when you're looking directly, yeah, like that, you are fine.
Okay, so I'll be aware of that.
Perfect.
So anyway, so I give him this email address, which did not exist. And then I head over to a cyber cafe once I get back to Calabar. Unfortunately, it was available. I paid 800 naira for my first Yahoo email address that was supposed to be free. Anyway,
Wow.
so a while, not too long after that, Willie gives me sent an email about a lady called Janet Schweitzer and saying that she's going to be running an event and it would be great for me to attend. And I'm like, really, that's really, really nice. But I'm seeing here that this thing is 4,997. Do you know how much that is in Naira? Are you nuts? So Willie, who was an amazing guy, decided to front me the cash. This is just somebody I've met once in Ghana. So he fronts me the cash, pays for the entire thing. And I remember the first day of the event, there were 12 of us in the room. Okay. It wasn't Zoom, it was a teleseminar kind of situation. All right. So I get down in there and everybody's introducing themselves. This one is saying that the product that he's selling is about 10,000 US dollars. This one is 15,000 US dollars. This one is 12,000. They're saying things that hurt me. The most expensive thing I was selling that time was a 15,000 naira seminar. And that 15,000 naira, because it was 3 days, I ran into my uncle's room and nobody could talk to me at my 15,000 naira seminar. But compared to what these people were doing, was just completely different. So when they came to me, I told them that my expensive product was 15,000. I very casually dropped the naira. There was no naira there, just a 15,000. When they found out that this my 15,000 was just the equivalent of a good meal at the correct restaurant, it now became the Victor Bassey show. It was the most embarrassing period of time my entire life because I was the poster child for what you should do and what you should not do. It was there that I learned for the very, very first time that what you charge for what you are offering has nothing to do with the marketplace. It has every single thing to do with how you see yourself and your ability to solve big, near impossible problems.
Please repeat that for those in the room at the back, in front, or the sides. Can you please just repeat it?
The price that you charge for anything at all has nothing to do with the market. It has every single thing to do with your belief in your ability to solve difficult and near impossible problems. Okay, so everything turned around, and for the next, I think it was about 12 weeks or thereabout, they wouldn't start the meeting until I showed up because I was now the poster child. So they will give me assignments, and I was their real life case study.
They said that your voice is still breaking. Yeah,
oh, really?
It is still breaking, but I can hear it, maybe because of my headphones. But it's still
okay. Give me
undulates.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Give me a minute. I'm going to go off camera for a bit.
Okay.
And then change my setting and see how that helps.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Believe in your ability to solve difficult and near impossible problems. Oh, Mr. Namdi is on. Mr. Namdi is on. That's the man that's making it happen. You know, I was listening to an audio recording just before Victor comes back.
Okay.
My own audio recording. I was so inspired while I was working out this morning. And I said, bring it on. Show me your problems. I am the solution. It's inside me. What problems do you have? Bring your problems. I want to know the name of your problems. You need to go around saying that, you know, because it takes some chest to be able to say, show me your problems. You don't know what the problems are, but you're saying you want to see it and you can solve it. So just like Victor said, believe in your ability to solve difficult and near impossible problems. Put your price on it, peeps. And the people that say they cannot pay, they are not your clients. I shall leave the stage now. Go ahead, sir.
So, can you hear me clearly now?
Oh,
Yes, sir.
perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Hey, Obi.
Perfect.
Hi. It's great to meet you.
Good evening, sir. Same here.
Good evening to you too. Anyway, so what did we say last? I can't remember for the life of me.
So I told you to repeat that your price
Okay, yeah.
is based.
Okay, so that was where I learned it, and I learned to a very, very large extent that the biggest problem I have in the marketplace is me. Now, it's very easy for us to
Wow.
have that as a mental assent. To just like on a mental level, just know that you're your biggest problem. But what does that mean to you emotionally? What does that mean to you as a person until you really, really come to terms that you are your own village people? It really, really does not.
That
it really,
is
really
that
does
that
not do
needs,
anything.
that needs to be a meme. That is perfect. You are your own village people. Can you see?
Honestly. Anyway, so long story short, Janet takes a liking to me. And over the last 22 years, she has been my mentor.
Wow.
She has been my mentor. Now, for those of you who don't know this, Janet, when Janet has been in the background of some of the biggest names that you know in the space. When she met Les Brown, most of us here probably know Les Brown. Les Brown was selling tapes that he tied around with rubber band so that he can move from airport to airport. Changed his life completely. Chicken Soup for the Soul, she wrote the marketing plan for Chicken Soup for the Soul. Tony Robbins' breakthrough events, she designed it.
Wow.
100%. So most of the biggest names, she has been behind them. And over the years, she has been my secret weapon, because having access to that mind put me on the front row of what was really, really possible in our field today. Fast forward a few years from that, I start this thing called Power Ideas, which is a monthly audio CD. I got the idea from John Maxwell and his Maxwell Maximum Impact Club. So I figured if he could do it, I could do it. But brethren in the Lord, for 5 years of running that particular program, trying to sell these CDs, for 5 years, I couldn't make up to 50,000 a month.
5 years.
5 years. 5 long years. I couldn't make up to 50,000 a month.
Oh, come on.
So to make ends meet, I got a job with, right now they call themselves Oak Pensions. But back then,
was it Naira or dollars?
Naira. Full-blown Niger guy. Naira. I couldn't make up to 50,000 Naira in a month.
Wow.
Anyway, so I got a job with Evergreen Pensions. Now they call themselves Oak Pensions. And I grew really, really fast inside of the company. I became number 3 within 2 years. But there's something that I learned. Okay. Remember at first I said that sometimes in our lives, when the things that signal the second different phases of our lives is information and relationships. Okay. When you are inside of a community, one of the biggest advantages, if you are smart, of being inside of a community is you learn things faster.
Yeah.
You learn things faster as a result of association.
Yeah.
Not because someone is sitting down and dumping stuff on you. Okay. So I noticed that the way these people sold pension, retirement savings accounts was to just walk into an organization, ask them for permission to have a presentation. The person would say, okay, yes, and we'll show up there with our forms, have the presentation, sign people up, and then things went. So I was like, what if I try that with Power Ideas? This was after 5 years. Okay. I did that with Power Ideas. And the year that I did that with Power Ideas, we went from not being able to make 50,000 to 30 million in 1 year. 30 million naira. Naturally, I resigned the next year.
Of course. Of course. Of course.
Now, it's not that the product changed.
Mhm.
The product did not change, but the way I thought about presenting it to the market completely changed. And that's why, look, one of the most important things that can happen to any one of us is for you to get into an environment with quality people. They rub off on you in ways that you can't begin to imagine. The things that happened to me in the 3 years that I was with Evergreen Pensions and the circle of people that I met inside of Evergreen Pensions, I'm not sure I would have experienced the same growth in any other place. Okay, so association is very, 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 very important in creating compound leaps, in creating quantum leaps in progress. All through my life, it has always been at different points in time, one human being or a group of human beings will open a door and I'll walk through with ease. I've suffered though, but I've not struggled. They're not the same thing. All right. So I finished that and Power Ideas takes off on its own. And after a while, the people who were advising me told me, okay, you know what, you need to come to Lagos. Here in this Calabar, you're a big fish in a very, very small pond. You need to relocate. This issue of environment, are there certain environments where people thrive? Are there environments where you would not thrive? The answer is a complex one until you realize that environment is a function of information, technology, and relationships. If you have the right amount of, you have the right information, you have access to the right technology, you have access to the right people, you can thrive anywhere. It's not the state. It's not the, it's not the place. It's technology, information, and people. That's just it. And so when I moved from Calabar to Lagos, internet access that wasn't so strong in Calabar. Now I could download 1 gig of information in 1 hour. This is something that we used to leave overnight in Calabar and then come back and check. It hasn't gone halfway yet. You know, so there was that. And then all of a sudden, because of the internet also, I now had access to a bigger network of people that I could communicate with, that I could talk with, that I could share with. And that did quite a lot for me. When we moved here to Lagos, I became the primary caregiver to my kids. And as of that particular point in time, Power Ideas was doing very, very well. We had over 3,000 subscribers. It was doing well. It was doing really, 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 really well. And so after a while, I just generally got bored. And I was wondering, okay, all these things that I've learned, how do I pay them forward? The idea I got was to start something called the Highly Paid Experts Network. But before I started the Highly Paid Experts Network, which was essentially a Facebook group, a friend of mine had told me about the power of Facebook groups, and I had attended his Facebook group. Now, understand, the only Facebook groups that I found useful at that time was like the Gary and Soup Day Facebook group. It's a very, very large group. We've got millions of members. Hilarious group. I mean, so that was what I thought about as far as Facebook groups were concerned. But this guy was talking about monetizing it, but I didn't hear him.
Okay.
Then September, my grandmother passes. Me and my grandmother were like this. And in grieving, I shut down every single thing. You couldn't reach me. There was no phone, nothing. So my wife took care of the kids and I went to bury my grandmother. And whilst I was there, in the solitude of myself, I asked myself a number of questions. The reality of death was staring me in the face that, look, if I died today, what would I say I had done? Yeah, made a few millions, sold lots of tapes. So what? There's nothing. And so I was wondering how to honor my grandmother and make a difference. And the whole idea of the Highly Paid Experts Network came to me again. And all of a sudden, the Facebook group made sense. Here's what I'm saying about that. There are many good ideas floating in your heads today, but because you're tired, you're frustrated, you can't see it. You can't recognize it for what it is. If I didn't take that time out, my friend Kunle Olomofe, who is a legend as far as the internet is concerned himself, when he told me about it, this is somebody who has had marketing chops. His book, Proven Pricing Secrets, had more search results than Star Wars back in 2007. Proven Pricing Secrets had more search entries than Star Wars. It was crazy. He's that kind of person.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah. Okay.
So he told me about it, and credibility. He had all the credibility for me to pay attention to him, but my head was in a completely different space, and I couldn't hear what he was telling me. And so for some of us here, the breakthroughs that you need right now would probably be you taking time out this weekend to just chill. Let your head come down. Taking time away from the hassles of your life sometimes just allows you to come back with fresh eyes and see things that you never were able to see before. Anyway, so I start the Facebook group, and I'm very, very particular about it being a quality group. And so in our first year, we went from, I think we had about 1,800 people in the group as of the end of the first year. But what surprised me was the income that was generated. I knew that it would generate a lot of money. I just didn't think it would do it that fast. But within 11 months, we started on the 5th of January. By my birthday in November 30th, we had done 28 million. I sat back and thought about what had happened, and I realized that the only thing that had shifted, the only difference, was the fact that I had a group of people who were interested in the same future that I was interested in. And so being able to communicate this future to these people in a way that was meaningful, relevant, and engaging to them collapsed a lot of time for me. There's so many opportunities that come to you when you have people who are invested in your own progress. I remember a funny story. Somebody, I just finished watching a TV show by a gentleman. It was about entrepreneurs under 40. And then just jokingly, I came into the Facebook group and I was like, somebody should come and tell this person that I'll soon be 40. In fact, I'll soon pass 40. He needs to have me on the show. I had just posted the thing. It wasn't up to 5 minutes. I had someone in my DM saying he's my cousin. I can connect the two of you. That network effect happens when you are actively, obsessively building your own tribe of people, like they say, who know, like, and trust you for the right reasons. Technology makes it ridiculously easy for you to do that. Technology makes it so easy for you to bring people together and facilitate conversations and just basically be a useful human being to people. Technology helps you do that in ways that you cannot begin to imagine. And then, of course, if you now bring in movement dynamics and a few of these other things and create an environment where people can find excuses to believe in themselves so that they can create or achieve seemingly impossible goals for themselves, what starts to happen in that point is, look, the simplest way I can say it is that you'll never be broke again. You never have to sell anything because people will buy from you by default. You never have to promote anything. People will promote it by themselves. 2016, I was inside of the group and I just casually shared, you know what, I'm tired of serving, because as of that particular point in time, I'd gotten to serve, it was a Facebook group, but from that Facebook group, I got to serve ambassadors, I got to serve billionaires, I got to serve all crazy kinds of people. So I shared that, look, it's not that I'm not grateful. I'm tired of serving billionaires. I'm tired of serving ambassadors. You know, when am I going to start doing presidents?
Mm.
There was a lady inside of the group who eventually became a client of mine. Through her, I got the opportunity to work with 4. I worked with one of them for just a year, but 3 have kept me on a retainer for almost 6 years. No, yeah, about 6 years. None of that would have happened without the effect of actively creating that group. All right. So to tie that back to the assignment you gave me unconsciously, where what we were to talk about today is the whole thing about now being the time. There has never been a better time for you to create such an opportunity for yourself. There has never been a better time for you to have big goals. There has never been a better time for you to stretch your imagination about what is possible for you. I run a really, really successful global practice from Ogba. Not the island, though. I don't do island runs. From Ogba. For those of us who might be outside the country, Ogba is, I don't know how to qualify Ogba.
It's just know it's in our mainland. That's all. Just know.
All right. But it's possible because of technology, because of relationships, and because of access, easy access to information. The way you think about your current situation, the way you talk about your current situation, the way you behave each and every single day in the face of all the things that happens to you on a day-by-day basis impacts consistently what you're able to do. The way you think, and when I'm talking about the way you think, I'm not talking about the thoughts and the pictures that enter your head. I'm talking about you having a very, very clear intention and freeing yourself from all the decisions that you have made for yourself about what is possible and what is not possible. People talk about limiting beliefs. What's a limiting belief? A belief is a decision. It's a decision about what is possible and what is not possible. If you understand that, this thing that people keep telling you about breaking through your limiting beliefs, letting go of your limiting beliefs, and it looks like something that you have to do for maybe like 2-3 months through therapy to be able to get out of it. The moment you understand that it's a decision, things change. The post that she was referring to today was a post I made about my experience with her. Now, that was not my first experience with her, but it was the first time she was getting in touch with me and saying, there's this burden in my heart and I think I have to share. And I'm like, really?
Did I say that?
Really? Okay, what is it about? She told me there's something she just wants to share, that we can be bigger than this and all of that. Really? Okay, no problem. I will come. Let me just go there. Now, all that attitude I was giving to her was because I was carrying shoulder up. I had just moved from, so what I basically do is performance consulting. Okay, so if someone has something that they want to do, and it's a bit of a challenge for them, I basically help them navigate that and make it happen for them. The difference between me and most people is that I do it at a pretty high level. That's just it. So prior to that, time, the most expensive offer that I had was to work with me for a year, and that was $15,000. In 2021, just before or just as the pandemic whole thing was ending and we're getting into the year, I made the decision that I wanted to move from 15,000 to 50,000 per client. That's like a jump of 300 plus percent. Okay. For some people, it's not a big deal. For me, it was a big deal. Okay. Because prior to that time, I did not think it was possible. I felt it would be possible if I had left Nigeria and I was in the US. And from the US, with all the posturing and every single thing like that, I could engineer that to happen. But I was in Nigeria, or I am in Nigeria. I'm in Ogba. Pretty much that. So I did that, and it took me a year before I got the first person who agreed to give me 50K. And once I got that first person, it just became matter of fact. But the point that I am making with this is that jump from 15,000 to 50 is a jump that each and every single one of us here can make. You could triple whatever it is that you are making right now.
Yeah.
I've just been educated. Ogba is a suburb in Lagos, sir. I never thought I'd be able to use the word suburb for Ogba, but thank you very much for that. Who would have thunk? You know, so that jump is a jump that each and every single one of us here can make if you just give yourself the permission and have the intent. Having the intent means you choose an outcome that you want and you stay with that outcome until it is true. It's not an easy thing to do when everything around you is saying that that outcome is not going to happen. Case in point, I reached out to a client of mine, a former client of mine who is a billionaire, all right? Told him about the entire program, told him what I was going to do for him, put the price point at 50,000 US dollars. This man told me it was too expensive, that he couldn't pay me.
Billionaire.
A few months later, he asked me if I was available. I said, sure. He gave me $35,000 US, flew me first class, accommodation all paid. I had a private chef, private driver, car assigned to me. Total expense for the 3-day weekend thing that we're talking about, almost 70,000. So low-key was telling me that the problem was not the thing, the problem was me. He didn't think I deserved 50K. All right. But I stayed with it. And eventually I got that one person. That one person brought another, and then another, and then another. And then after a while, it became my reality. So that's the background on that. So when Auntie Kemi came, I was talking about thinking big and all of that. I was like, what is all this one now? Okay. So I sat down there in the meeting and I was listening to her. Lots of the things that she was saying was making a lot of sense. But she kept saying to each and every single one of us, why are you limiting yourself? And I was low-key insulted. I was like, what are you talking about? I just finished creating a miracle for myself right now, and you're literally telling me that it's not enough. What do you want from me? So I spoke up since every other person was low-key keeping quiet. And I was like, Auntie, look, it's not as if I don't know what to do, but I'm just starting this one. I need this one to be in its place. I need it set up and all of that. And she was gracious. I was like, well, I understand that, but I think you can do better. I waited for the meeting to close. I thanked her very, very much for the stress. And then I went off. But there was just something about the way she said it that stayed in my head and just would not let me rest. And then again, I took some time off and then allowed the question to settle. And the bottom line of it was this: why am I fighting her? If I do better than this, who benefits? She beats me. So why am I fighting this? Why am I fighting this? And it turned out that it wasn't that what she said was wrong. It was that I had made a decision personally that my 50K was my miracle. Anything above that was for some other person. But my 50K was my miracle. And I took that miracle very, very personal, not realizing that it was just a mark, a milestone in a very, very long journey. And there are many of us who are kind of like with me at different levels. You reach a particular level, and as far as you're concerned, that is it. To consider something else would take you a long time for you to even give yourself permission to look at the possibilities of something else. And my challenge to you is consider that possibility now. It would really, really, literally change your entire life. About a month into, or 2 months or thereabout, I started changing things. I sold off Power Ideas. Remember, Power Ideas is a multi-million naira outfit. I sold it off. I shut down the Highly Paid Experts Network, handed it over to my partner. My Diamond Mastermind, where pretty much everybody was paying 15K at that particular point in time to be a part of, I chilled on that. And it was the scariest time in my life. Because now what? All right. Yes, I have my company that provides me with some form of income and all of that. But the majority of these things that I had fought so hard to build, I was basically letting it go. Here's something that you need to understand. What Kemi is sharing with us about the need to think big is really, really important because it redefines your past. The moment you have a future vision of yourself that is bigger and better than anything that you have ever experienced before, and you now start viewing your life through that particular lens, a number of things start to happen. Number one, the so-called traumatic experiences of your past, they now have to line up because time is a construct. Time only has meaning that you have given to it. It's either useful or it is not. Most of the time, if you're hanging on to the past and you're struggling with something that happened in the past, it's because you don't have a bigger vision.
Come on.
You're limited by what that past experience has allowed you to experience. And so you think that is your normal. But the moment you pick a goal that is so big that it scares the living daylight out of you and you start looking at the past through that particular lens, it changes every single thing for you. So to wrap up, because I know that my time is up.
No, we are going.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if you take a really, 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 really big goal, because this is like a summary of what I took from Kemi when I finally allowed myself to sit down with what she had shared. If you take a really, 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 really big goal, all right, the purpose of the goal is not necessarily what you are going to achieve. It's the person that you become. It's the capacity that you're building throughout that particular point in time. But if you take a really, 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 really big goal and you commit to that goal, what happens is that if you view your past through that lens, then any experience that you have had in the past that doesn't align with this either becomes an asset or a tool. It becomes an asset in that it gives you leverage. It gives you the ability to do a lot with a little, but it becomes a tool, something that enables you to make progress on something that might be otherwise complicated. All right. So for instance, when I set this new possibility for myself, there's nothing in my past that resembles the future that I am going to. There's nothing in it. So it meant that I had no models, I had no examples, I had nothing to fall back on to learn from to move in the direction that I want to go. So it now meant that everything I did with the Highly Paid Experts Network, Power Ideas, my selling of meats, all of those things, they were just tools. They're not even assets, because I can't base my ability on how far I went with Power Ideas. There's no correlation between that and the future that I have set for myself. So when you do that, what generally happens is that your expectations, not only your expectations, your, what's the word for it? Your standards get raised. And when your standards get raised, the options that you have for reaching wherever it is that you go, they'll be clear to you, even though they'll be scary. But now it means that you don't waste your time on a number, the same kind of things that you were doing before. So to bring this home, let me give a typical example. So I took about 3 years off Facebook.
I noticed.
I didn't do anything on Facebook. I didn't do it. Every now and then I'd post or maybe like troll some people. If you knew me before that time, I'm the guy that would post 10, 15 times a day on Facebook. I literally was there all the time. Then I disappear. Why? Because that strategy is not a part of my future. It's very, 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 very clear. Do I still run a group on Facebook? Yes. But how I run it versus how I used to run it before, miles apart. The role that the group has in my overall strategy for where I want to go to is very, 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 very different. And all of that are defined by the future that I have for myself. So that raising of standards, what it does is it changes your identity, it changes the way you see yourself. The sooner you start to identify as that future version of yourself, the things that that future version would be doing, the things that that future version would be committed to, the sooner you here right now start to match up in reality with that future self. So let me give you a few ideas of what has happened between the meeting I had with Kemi and now. I run something called Tribe Masters as of now. There hasn't been like a formal launch of it or anything at all. It's just been all in the background. A few weeks ago, I talked about it briefly and then opened up a Facebook group about it. But in Tribe Masters, I had my first 150K client. Here's the funny thing. I got that client and it didn't seem like the world had changed. It didn't seem like it was a big deal. It didn't seem like it wasn't normal. Because from 2022, look at the time, from 2022 to 2024, 2 years, it took for me to become this person that someone would trust with that number of finances. I cut off the relationships with all my clients who were presidents and made them a completely, totally different offer, setting the criteria for what it would mean to work with me. 2 years ago, who dashed monkey banana? The audacity came from just allowing myself to ask, why am I limiting myself? And so for every single one of us here, the more you have that big future in front of you, it's not even that the future would be exactly the way you have pictured it right now, because it's consistently changing. The more you evolve, the more breakthroughs you're creating for yourself now, the more that future changes, the more you understand about it, the more it gets more and more realigned. But the person that you become, your ability to have a certain level of personal sovereignty where your life is not determined by the economy that you are leveraging is an incredible incredible thing. I've had people who have asked me, Victor, are you not going to Japa? If I wanted to, I could, but I don't really feel a need to. Do I feel the heat like everybody else? Yeah, but I have air conditioner. So it's not exactly the same. But it's here that all of that is done. So if I was to summarize every single thing that I have shared today, hopefully you enjoyed it. But if I was to summarize everything that I've said today, it would be this: get out of your own way. You are the only thing stopping you. And I'm not saying that as a cliche or as something that is just feels good to say. I'm saying that from a place of knowing, a place of reality, of seeing different people. The moment you give yourself permission to be something other than what you currently are, your entire life changes. Everything about you becomes more enjoyable, more sustainable, more fulfilling. Time becomes an asset instead of an enemy. My father used to tell me that now you're doing Jolly Boy. Once you get to 40, time does not respect you anymore. It just speeds up. Okay. But the things that I'm talking about right now, when you give yourself permission, time becomes your friend. All right. So that's just it. I hope I made some sense. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
Standing ovation. Sorry, standing ovation. Thank you so much for speaking from your heart. I honestly did not know I did all this. I love the frank way you speak, and I believe you. There is no shy bone in your body. There was one question before Namdi comes up. There was one question. Not when was the meeting? That was January 2022. Not kindly share your. She helped you. How did you surmount that when you realized he didn't think you were worth being paid 50K?
I didn't know that that was what he meant. So I got to understand that that was what he meant after much later. But here's the thing that I learned: 5 years of running Power Ideas. Okay. In Power Ideas, in those 5 years that it took for me to get to a point where I was not ready to quit, but I needed to get a job to support whatever it is that I was doing. I had this thing that was running in my head. If I can get 1, I'll get 2. If I get 2, I'll get 4. If I get 4, I'll get 8. If I get 8, I'll get 16. It's always there. So the game for me is not whether or not people believe me or they don't believe me. It is, where's my 1? Once I get that 1, there'll be 2. If I get 2, okay, it's the same thing. So right now at the 50K cadre, I've got 8 and a waiting list of 15 people. At the 150 cadre, I've got 1 with a waiting list of 5. So, but it's interesting that the 50K took me a year and the 150 took me 2 years. But all of that from Ogba.
You keep saying that.
Yeah, because people need to understand it. Sometimes people think I live on the island for some funny reason.
Strange reason, yeah. All right. Can you hear how it's working? It's not where you live. It's where you live in your thinking. It's not where you live physically. It's where you live in a space that you can't hold, you can't touch. It is so powerful. It, like Victor said, it determines whether you go, you start, you stop, you slow down, or you just pass out and die. It's a choice you make. There is one more thing. Let's talk about the staying power that had you stay consistent for 5 years without making up to 50,000 naira a month for 5 years.
Okay. All right. So remember that I had in my corner a lady called Janet.
Okay.
All right. And Janet, her full name is Janet Schweitzer, for those of you who might want to check her out. So Janet has been on the front, behind the scenes of all the biggest names. Okay. And this was the lady that I had in my ear. And every 90 days, I would sit with her for 25 minutes, give an audit of all that I was doing and all of that. So because I had Janet in my ear, most of the things that she would tell me to do, I didn't follow through on them because I felt this Oyibo woman does not live in Nigeria. She does not know what she's talking about. But she did. There's this thing called long suffering. And there's this thing called suffering before it is necessary. Everybody suffers. It's a question of making sure that the suffering that you're suffering is actually worth it, not the one that is unnecessary. You're just doing Jera for nothing. So having that kind of support structure is very, 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 very important. It's difficult for you to maintain any vision, whether it's somebody you want to marry or something you want to do, or a school you want to go to, or a course you want to attend, or money you want to raise. It's difficult for you to maintain an intention without the right information and the right relationships. It's ridiculously difficult. It's difficult. And so I guess my secret weapon has been over the years learning how to surround myself with the right kinds of people that when I'm feeling like I want to give up, they can tell me things that I cannot see or that I would be afraid to tell myself. And then also to consistently have access to the right information, knowing what the truth is about a situation. So for instance, one of the things that kept me going was, remember I said I modeled power ideas after John Maxwell's Maximum Impact Club. All right. But did you know that John Maxwell did not make any profit from that for 4 years? He had 100 and something thousand subscribers. Tapes, 100 and something thousand tapes that were going out. He didn't make a profit for 4 years. First 4 years, he didn't make any profit. But he kept it going because he also did not lose any money. So I knew that. If John Maxwell did not make money for 4 years, who am I? Let's be going. All right. So having the right information, very, 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 very important. Throughout that period of time, I kept developing my skills. I kept working on myself, trying different things to find out what worked and did not work. If during that period of time, the 3-year period of time I was in evergreen pensions, nothing changed, I would probably still be selling power ideas till today. Just figuring out what would make it work. So it's the difference between having an intention that you commit to and just having a desire. One other thing that is very, very important also is having a period of time where you evaluate your intentions, evaluate your goals. So every 90 days, I spend time with Janet. And one of the things she'll ask me is, are you making any money yet? I said, no. Is it still important to you? Yes, fine. Carry on again for the next 90 days. At the end of that 90 days, are you making any money yet? No. Is this still important to you? Yes, fine. Carry on again. Because sometimes the moment you answer no, this thing that you want to do is no longer important to you. Kill it. You don't want to wait 5, 6, 10 years working on something that you no longer see as important, but you just want to save face. So your values, understanding your values, very, very important. Understanding what is important to you, which is your values, very, very important. And everything that we're doing in the marketplace is just an expression of our values. And so if this thing is not feeding into your values, kill it. What are you still doing there? If at any particular point in time during those 5 years, I said no, power ideas would have been dead. But the highest value I have for me is power. The ability to do what I want, when I want, how I want it, with whoever it is that I want it.
Yeah.
And power ideas gave me the ability to do that and gave me the possibility of doing that. So as long as I kept that in front of me, I just went on. But make no mistake, it's the information that I had and the people that were around me that kept me. So that's
the answer. Joey calls that sunk cost fallacy. Many people keep going to save face rather than many keep going to, and they talk. So glad you said that. Save face. What are you saving face for? Mr. Namdi Obi, Mr. Obi, I'd like you to answer this question, please. Are you there? There's a question here. What advice would you give someone who wants to go into content creation generally, sharing valuable information online, the normal comedy, and cruise content? Secondly, is there much advantage in putting your face to your product, especially in the content creation area? Mr. Obi is not here, so you go ahead and answer, please.
So let me look at that question.
Oh, you are. You didn't respond.
Okay, thank you. Kai, you just saved me. Hi. You just saved me.
We need your face. You didn't respond, so we thought you were not there.
Oh no, I was here. I was should I tell you what I was doing?
If it was going to toilet, please, we don't want to know.
No. I was trying to pay for the second Tribe course, and the payment is not going up. I just paid for the first one.
Which one is that? Let me know. Maybe I can help you out.
It's on the seller. No, I'm trying it again. So I just had to pause to answer.
You see why you cannot lie in public? This guy is sneaking around, checking me out.
Great, you go for it.
Okay. Okay, so to answer these questions, what advice would you give someone who wants to go into content creation generally? First of all, authenticity is key, right? People love the guy that speaks what he believes. I think one of the things people don't get when trying to create content is you think you're trying to impress people by everything, but people can tell when you're not being original, right? When you're not being that, how do I put it now? When you're being authentic about your thing, it doesn't come naturally for you. You have to get something, you have to do this, you have to be in the best place. You see, and once you're not authentic with what you're doing, it's difficult to stay consistent, right? Because there's nothing driving you. You just want to create content, get the likes, and go away. But if you come, don't wait to get the best of kids. Come as you are, but grow. Don't remain there. Grow. Make sure that what you're giving out is value, that people need it. Don't just come out and talk about everything. These days, people are recycling a lot of information and all of that. Find out in your audience or what you want to do, what is the thing that people are not talking about, right? What is the thing that people are not even discussing about that will really solve a problem? People will listen to you when you can solve their problems, not because you're not the only person saying it. But if you're authentic about it and you're solving a problem for them, they are most likely to listen to you about that situation. So take, for instance, now, let's say I sell skincare. If you go on Instagram, the content you see is come and buy, somebody washing her hair, doing this, blah, 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 and all of that on skincare. You can change it up, right? Start talking about the things that are in those skincare products that are not good for people. One of the things that people react to very well when you're creating content is fear. I think I've used fear to sell anything I want to sell in this life. When people feel like, look, I've been making mistakes all my life, they'll pay for anything, right? They'll really pay for anything. So you want to start with their fear. Don't come and tell them how to solve your problems in 10 days. No. Tell them this is why you're spending 20 million and nothing is working. And the person is like, how does this person know that nothing is working? I need to get this thing right. Learn how to write offers, right? Because whatever you're dishing out, they say we have very low memory span right now, the attention span right now. You have just 5 seconds to grab somebody's attention. So, and it's starting with your headline. If you don't have it, you've missed it. You just keep doing long form content and all of that. Find what is original to you, right? Don't join everybody. The thing that you're comfortable with, do it, right? But don't join everybody. make sure you're giving value. That's how you stay long. Because some people crack joke. They just not help anybody, and after some time, they'll go away. So you said sharing valuable information online or the normal comedy and cruise stay away from cruise. Here's the problem I have with cruise. Is that when you need to do serious business, nobody takes you serious. That's my problem with cruise. Because you keep playing around. Today you are posting this. We can't trace anything that you're doing, right? You just come up with anything and just put out there. When you genuinely want to do a business, when you want to do things to people will not now take you serious. People will be like, okay, today he was dancing, and yesterday he was singing. Tomorrow morning he's sleeping, and then, today now he's telling me that I can solve my problems. You look like a problem. Why would you solve my problem? And they just remove their hands from you, right? So make sure that when you define your message, right? There's a formula I use for messaging. I help X do Y so that this. So I help a certain person do this so that they can get a certain result, right? So you have to answer your messaging for yourself first. Know exactly what you're doing online. When I was starting out my brand, it wasn't clear to me, right? It wasn't clear as to what I wanted to do for like almost 8 months, right? I mean, I knew the name SalesManObi was what I was going to use. And what was in my mind was I'm going to sell anything to anybody. And I just started by dropshipping pictures from Jumia and selling online. People reach out to me, buy stuff. And I started to learn about importation. Then I realized that people needed to learn stuff like this. And then I went into it. From there, we started getting coaching, started coaching on sales and all of that. By the time I got exactly what I wanted to do, I stayed on it. And I started creating from that angle. So people can see your growth. People love the guy that's just starting out. They want to feel like I helped you get here. So don't try to miss out on your process. Don't try to miss out on the beginning. All of us do this. A large number of us do this. I know this guy when he started. I know him when he started. He's so big right now. He's so great, And I was there. People like to do all of that, right? So you want to put people in that phase where they're watching your growth. If you look at all the guys on the internet today that we all love, people like Salem, Steve Harris, we all knew when they started with their phone in their rooms. We knew when they were just, sit in their car and try to do content. Today, they use the whole big deal thing, and everybody still loves their content, right? So be as authentic as ever, give value, avoid a lot of clues. You're not a comedian. If you're not a comedian, leave it alone. There are people that are comedians. If you're not a comedian, just leave it alone, right? Leave it alone. Find people's problems and solve those problems. So you said, secondly, is there much advantage in putting your face to your product? Yes, it helps with trust, right? I mean, how do I put it now? Someone like me now, I always tell myself, because Coach Kem is always saying, you need to talk to yourself, right? I used to say to myself that there's no way you see me or talk to me that you not buy my market. Once you see me, I'm 6'4". I'm tall and I'm very big. So naturally, if I'm talking to you, you already feel like I know exactly what I'm saying. There's enough confidence, right? Now, if I talk to you, anyhow you want me to talk to you, I can do that, right? I think one of the things I've learned as a salesperson is to shift into different modes according to how I meet people. From childhood, for instance, I used to stay with my mom in the shop. I grew up in the north, right? You can't speak outside like that. So I used to stay with my mom in the shop. So when somebody comes to the shop, I was like, Dogo, you are very tall. I'm saying, yes, I'm very tall. What do you want to purchase? And the person says, oh, do you have Teletubbies, my pup children, doing a birthday party? I said, oh, good, let me call my mother for the price. They'll ask for the price. I'll say, it's 120,000. And the man's like, Akaraji Hausa? I said, I'm not hearing Hausa very well, but I'm trying. And the man will smile and will close that sale, right? If I'm talking to an Igbo person, I took some time to spend time in the East, because I didn't grow up in the East, right? Go to places like main market, and you are hearing somebody saying, go to August house and get me 2 bottles of engine oil there. You can hear the authenticity in their voice. So you want to be able to communicate with people that, feel the same way. People like it when they can hear. It's like bike. If you take bikes, for instance, if you want to enter bike, once you get to those Hausa guys, and you just speak a little bit of Hausa. If he wanted to collect all your money before, he will reduce it because somehow he feels like you're his brother. You need to make people feel like you get them, right? Listen to them, hear their points, know that, okay, look, I get you, I understand. Sometimes, I watch a lot of American movies. Sometimes you don't need to shout. Sometimes you just need to be calm, you know? And you're talking to somebody and the person says, oh, I'm having this issue. And you're like, okay, so tell me, what are the issues you've gone through? I really want to know your problem so I can know where you're coming from. Your voice is calm. This person feels, next thing they start telling you about their problems, you know? I've had people who tell me, oh, my husband gave me 3 million, I wasted it. Please, he just gave me another money, I need help. My job is to collect that money from your hand, but I'm not going to abstractly tell you to pay me, right? I'm going to put you in a mood where you now start telling me things about, so I have a problem with my time management. I have a problem with, you know, setting up my online space, and I'm just listening. I know women like it when you listen, right? You're just listening. When you do the whole calm thing, make sure you understand your people. There's something we call buyer persona, right? It's how your customer should look like, or your audience should look like before you speak to them, before you go out and advertise to them. You need to know exactly who you're talking to. If you're not, let me give you an instance. I'm sure Coach Kemi, this is my expo. This is how I got your attention. So if you're going to speak to Coach Kemi, please don't text her on WhatsApp that you have problem to solve. Don't do that. That message is going to stay unread for the next 5,000 years. Jesus will come and you will still not read it. If you want to present something to her, you have to send a proposal, right? You have to send a proposal. You have to like bring up the details. She likes to know exactly what she's getting into. Now, I've seen the way she does things. So I get back to you and do. I think, no, if I'm sending a proposal to this, there's no way this woman is texting me that I can solve a problem on WhatsApp. You know, she's not going to answer me. So I send the proposal and then I text her on Instagram that I just sent you a proposal. And she looks at it and says, I'll get back to you. Okay, let's book a meeting. Structure. There are some people who are not interested in proposal. My chairman, let's get on a call. What do you want to do for me? You know, let's do what I have 5 minutes now. I'm heading for a meeting. What do you want to do for me? Know your audience, know your people, know exactly who you want to serve. One of the reasons people find it hard to break out on the internet is you're trying to communicate to people you don't know, right? And when I say you don't know, I'm not saying you know them, like you've not defined who they are. So you're not talking the way they want to listen. I always tell my audience that there's a way people want to be served. We all had COVID-19, the world shut down, right? But not everybody wore the same type of face mask. Everybody had their own thing. Some people wore the 15 naira nose masks that will still give you COVID. Some people took it too seriously and bought the one with the gas filter. And some people, for some reason, use Ankara to do their own, right? From the company and put their logo, as if the logo is going to stop the COVID. But, you know, everybody with their different thing. But if you meet somebody who wanted to put on the company's logo, for him, it wasn't stopping COVID that's his problem. He wants to just show you that my company cares. You have to be able to speak to him. So if you're coming as a printing service, oh, we are printing nose mask. We're printing this. This is how we do our nose mask. You send them design. They will buy it. But if you send them the pack, the 50 naira, 100 naira one, and say, oh, we're delivering 1,000 pieces, they might not take it. And then the people that, you know, they and COVID are sleeping in the same house, you know, they take it very seriously. If you allow them, they wear helmets, right? You know, those ones with very big filters. People have how they want to be served. So you find out how they want to be served. With your content, you now answer those questions. Find out how do your people relate to. Some people like text. I've used carousels for a long time on the internet. Videos, good, but I get more responses from carousels. Sometimes tweets. I just screenshot a tweet and I put it out. People respond to me faster on the comment section. They chat with people who can have 500 comments on one place and we'll just like that. But, you know, when I do videos, you know, it's the likes. I have a community. My community is on WhatsApp. It's sometimes like 300 something is hot. If you drop a topic, you see people dropping their 2 cents. And you see that, oh, this person, you've been on this group, saying not saying anything, saying people will call you, text you privately, I want to pay you and all of that. Know your audience. Define who you want to serve. Sit down, ask yourself, am I going to be serving men or women? That's one. If I'm serving both, on what topic, of what age, what location, what level of knowledge must they have acquired for me to be coaching them? Don't go and be giving somebody who doesn't even know how to use Instagram that I want to charge you, let me say now, 300,000 so that you can use Instagram. This person doesn't even, it's not social media first. Do you understand? It doesn't get what you are saying. It's a whole lot. So you start from where they are. If that person is not your client, don't bother trying to convince them. It's waste of time. Find the person, put the message to find the person that you're looking for. And, you break through with content and any type of content. It can be text. I mean, the Tribes Master uses Facebook. People say Facebook is for old people. I just laugh sometimes, but it's well. They say it's for old people. And it looks like these old people have money. So we have to go to Facebook. We have to go to Facebook. So yeah, that's that. I hope I answered your question, Joseph.
Yes, I believe you did. But I want to read something. We're going into a bit of relationships, but I want these two gentlemen here to give their own perspective. So I wrote this, I think it was December 2022, and it's the Dear Future Husband series. I need to hear their thoughts, please, gentlemen. So here I go. Before I met you, okay, Joseph says thank you. You answered the question well. Before
I don't know if it's just me, but Kemi, you're a bit of really, really low. I don't know if it's just me.
Is this better?
Still the same, but don't worry about it.
Really? Is this any better?
Yeah. I think it's the position
That's
of the mouthpiece.
better. Okay.
This is much better.
All
Yes.
right. So it says, Dear future husband, before I met you, I wrote this. I was emotionally, verbally, and mentally abused, but I did not know it then. Yes, I was married before, but let me start from the beginning. There were red flags when I met him, but I was so insecure. I painted over the red and made it pink. And one time, I made it almost white. Yes, I was born again, but that did not mean I was wise. It did not mean that I had insight either. Plus, I did not have an older woman to whom I spoke about marital matters, nor from whom I learned anything about marriage God's way. Your mom, I hear you ask? Oh, when she spoke about marriage, I was arrogant and felt she knew nothing, and I was too born again to heed any advice she gave me. Actually, I was so full of myself. Even if God was shouting, I did not hear the whispers. I am sharing this now because recently I found out about the me who was still carrying the pain of her past about. As romantic and sweet as I was, and still am, I did not realize that the longer I stayed in my abusive marriage, the more damaged I would become. You see, I am a strong woman. No, scratch that. I am a strong woman with the softest of cores. My strength was contorted because I had to develop an even stronger heart to be able to ward off pain and keep standing in the face of continued emotional and psychological onslaughts. It was torture, but I did not know. I remember the painful tears that would drop from my eyes when I would be alone. Those tears were saying words I could not utter. Those tears were apologies I would make to him because out of anger, I would lash out at him, not cook, be moody, refuse to sleep with him, sex, refuse to do whatever else I jolly well pleased, then go up to him to apologize. Those tears were shed at God's feet because I would be repenting for behavior not befitting a child of a holy God. Those tears were hot, wet, and messy. I would want to run from my pain. I would imagine leaving my pain-filled thoughts behind, but always felt they followed me everywhere. Oh, I forgave him over and over and over again. I kept myself sane by letting the next offense be brand new, as if he never offended me before. But I did not notice I was also offending him. I had become a ball of defense. Everything I did was to shield myself from pain. I had become pain. In fact, once he told me, no one wants to be married to pain. I do not blame him. I was a mess of a wife. My wifing abilities were next to nil. I was nice, but not as the word would describe it. I did the Proverbs 31 woman thing, the Queen Esther thing, the Ruth thing, the Mary thing. Name it, I did it. None of it worked. For I would always regress 2 steps forwards, 10 steps backwards. I even had an affair as revenge, only for it to backfire in my face, and it went viral. Kemi has had an affair. My dear future husband, but for the grace of God, I was once a depressed and stressed mess who tried to commit suicide twice because there was no point living, and who tried to murder her husband because she felt he should not live. Thankfully, Jehovah stopped me on both counts, and I cooperated with him. I did not go there again. As I write this, I feel my heart is broken. I can feel the pain of it in my chest. I can see the thoughts of a happily ever after, ecstatic, we can fix anything marriage, go down the drain. I can see the helpless me staring into the river next to our house, pen in hand, notebook on my lap, as I tried to write the words in my heart. I was a wired romantic. Mills and Boone was my mentor. I read at least 100 of those books. I had no mentors to be a Deborah, an aged, praying Anna, a wise Queen Esther, a discerning Mary, mother of Jesus, none. I read the Bible, but when the Bible read me, it found me wanting. But I had no understanding because I lacked knowledge. Now, 16 years of being divorced as at 2022, single, God, the creator of marriage covenant, has taught me so much. He is teaching me still how to talk to you, how to read you when you do not want to share, how to interpret what your silence is saying, how to understand what your pleasure is in and out of bed, how to touch you in the places no one else will see but me, how to use the word, how to know which words to use that will build you, how to use the right tone of voice that will melt your heart, how to give you gratitude that will make your head swell, how to embrace you gently, sweetly, when all else seems to fail, how to cook with the most powerful spices, love, deference, honor, respect, and how to serve it to you, how to respect and honor you with a sense of holiness I will lack words to express, how to pray for you with God's agenda, how to love you and not trust you because he said I should trust him concerning you, how to call you Lord, see you as my Lord, and defer to you as my Lord. Oh, he's teaching me so much. But most importantly, he has introduced the traumatized me to the whole me because hurt people hurt people. I refuse to hurt you. So I'm learning to love me so that I love you the same. I'm learning to do to you what I want done to me. Oh, pain is painful. I refuse to bring you any. It has been a long journey, and I perceive it draws to a sweet, sweet end soon. While I await your arrival, I choose to love you with all my heart, all my might, all I am, because you are God's gift to me. And I know, having been through the dear future husband school of God's mercy, I can only love you and never hold anything against you. Because being married to you is all about God and not about you nor I. Dear future husband, I have loved you a long time because I have God in full view. And so I didn't get many comments on this compared to the first one I ever wrote. And reading it out reminds me of where I was then. I am not here anymore. But the learnings are still there. What are your comments, gentlemen?
So I hear that, and it reminds me of where I was 3 years into my marriage.
3 years.
Now, you need to understand that I married my best friend, who promptly became my best enemy 3 years into the marriage.
Wow.
Not because she was a terrible person, but because I didn't know how to be a husband to her. Okay, it's so I like knowing what I am doing before I get into anything. So we went through the counseling, I read the books, watched the videos, went through the courses and all of that. But none of that prepared me to be a husband to this amazing woman simply because I didn't ask myself, what does it mean to be a husband to Vivian? As simple as that question is, I never asked it. So I come home one day and I'm like ready to call it quits. And being the wonderful person that she is, she's like, okay, you know what? Let's give this thing a try. Okay, let's just try. Let's know that both of us who could put 100% into this thing so that when we go our separate ways, we can go back to being best friends. Okay, it made a lot of sense to me. And again, like I said, at different points in time, information and people come into my life, open up the next chapter. I got to know about this concept called unconditional love. It's the most difficult thing I have ever done my entire life. It's crazy, it's insane. And one of the easiest way for you to understand unconditional love is for you to understand that love is a job. It's not a feeling, it's not a commitment. Well, it is a commitment, but it is a job that you have been hired to do. Okay, your compensation was negotiated long before you even had the opportunity to negotiate it for yourself. It has been signed, it has been dealt. There are only two ways out of the job. You either die or you resign. But as long as you are there, do your job. Okay, so that's just pretty much it. And it was what turned my relationship with my wife around. And today, if you see us, you think that we never had any issues. So hearing you read that kind of like takes me back to that, because we get into, there's just something about marriage that redefines the love or the emotions that you have towards a particular person. The moment they put that ring on and you leave wherever it is that you were in and you go and sit down, there's a madness that comes on both of us.
Honestly.
And that madness is called expectations.
Yep.
And rules and promises that we heard the person make, but they did not know that they made. So all of that there. So I read all of that, I hear all of that, and it just takes me back there. Another thing that it kind of like reminds me is the amount of courage it takes to even be able to admit some of the things that you've admitted to yourself. It takes a lot to be able to look yourself in the mirror, know in advance that you're not going to like what you see, but you still look all the same. It takes a lot of courage that most people don't really understand until they're in despair, they're on the last ropes, and they have nothing else to do except look in that mirror that they've been afraid to look at. And that personal accountability that comes as a result of seeing yourself for the first time as your partner actually sees you. It's not an easy place to be, but if you can get past that, then you start to be able to turn things around for yourself. So for anybody who is listening to that letter, whether it is male, whether you're male or female, but particularly female, because I think a lot of females can identify with quite a lot of the things that were said, because when you give your heart to someone, the guy that you've given your heart to has no clue. He has no clue whatsoever what you have done. You are the only one who sees what you have given and what you are hoping that you're going to get back in return. The person does not necessarily understand what you have been through to get to this place where you can make this commitment to this person. You have paid a price. Forget that he's the one that did right price, but you have paid a price. You have paid a price.
Well, you have.
He has no clue how heavy it is. And so every single day, the first few years, you're just going through the motions, doing your very best to be the perfect supportive wife, hoping somehow that you're going to get it. The poor guy with his coconut head is thinking that he's doing it, but he's really not.
Why?
And
Why
so
are guys like that?
it's not it's not that guys are like that, it's that people are like that, because at the
People.
same way that you are going through this with yourself, because remember, you're coming from somewhere. You've had like a list of disappointments and you finally committed to this plan. You're hoping that this guy gets it. All right. He's also coming from somewhere. He's also coming from somewhere. And a lot of times we are oblivious of how all of that is affecting each other. So he is here thinking that he is doing his best. And his best, if he wasn't properly educated as to what marriage is, in other words, most men, most women don't know what marriage is. They have no answer to that. They don't have the answer to who is a husband. They don't have the answer to what does it mean to be a husband to Kemi. Kemi does not have the answer to what is a marriage. What does it mean to be a wife, and what does it mean to be a wife to, hypothetically,
like
Victor?
that.
Aha. So so that's going on every single day.
Yeah.
Put into that mix the expectations on both sides and the rules that we have for how we're supposed to be with each other. Let me give you a typical scenario of my first 3 years. I grew up in Manchester with my mom and my immediate younger brother. Christmas for us is mom gives us money, we go to Argos, order, pack things, come back, sit down, eat, sleep, watch movies. I only got to know about this visiting people's house when my mom passed, and then I had to come back and stay with my dad. And Christmas with my dad is he gives you clothes, he gives you money, rushes you out of the house to go and watch masquerades. In the evening, when you're tired, you come back. That's Christmas. I now meet this chick called Vivian. Amazing person. Christmas became redefined. Her family puts on this amazing show, invites like very, very select people. You go in there, you're dressed, people are eating, they're having conversation, everything is stylish. So for the period of time that we dated, Christmas meant Vivian's house because it was a whole lot more fun, and you could meet like correct people. We got married now. It didn't register that I cannot go to Vivian's house anymore because Vivian's house is my house. And Vivian wants Christmas the way she has been having Christmas. But me, Christmas meant I will go to Vivian's house. I don't have to do everything. I don't have to do anything. I just pay my transport to her house and eat. But she's like, no, everybody has to put their hands together, get things done, invite the guests. And so I was like, so for that, like 3 years, I remember one time like that I told her, I think she said, she was a bit upset and she was like, why are you not like my father? I said, go and marry your father.
Wow.
Biggest mistake ever. But it was a small thing, seemingly small thing, but there were rules and expectations that none of us had clarified and none of us had clues about. There were programmings from our past and our childhood, all of that. And so the only way that, in my opinion, that men and women can avoid all of this when you get into a relationship is have an intention for who you want to be in the relationship. That's one. 2, understand that man and wife, woman and husband, husband and wife, is not boyfriend, girlfriend.
Don't change. Different dynamic.
Boyfriend, girlfriend, you had a relationship. Husband and wife, you have a job. Okay? The emotional, it's not the most romantic notion, but if you come at it from that perspective, there are certain perks that come as a result of, to that. But most guys really do not get it as far as this whole thing about what's going on in the mind of the woman that they are connected to. A lot of them mean well, But there's so much. Do you know a situation where you know you want something, even you, the person that wants it, you can't articulate it?
Wow.
So how does he win? There's no win for him. He's looking to score points with you so that you champion him as a hero that is crushing every single thing for you. But you can't even articulate what you want because it's so deep. It's like so deep, you don't even have the words for it, and you're hoping that he can see it. The same thing also for the guy. So it's kind of like that. But I love what you wrote, and I hope that people read it for themselves, not just for the fact that you shared it, but they read it for themselves, because there's a lot there about having the courage to actually look at yourself. And I hope that each and every single one of us here, if you're married, okay, really, really look at yourself through the eyes of your spouse. If you're a man, look at yourself through the eyes of your wife. If you're a woman, look at yourself through the eyes of your husband. If you're truthful, more often than not, you won't like what you see. And if you don't like what you see, can you blame them for not liking it? So.
Mic drop. Boop. Yeah, there you go. Mr. Obi, as an unmarried man, soon to be married, did this speak? Thank you, Victor.
You know, Mary, you get this kind of behavior.
You know, I don't understand though. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So he spoke like a married man that he is. You know, it's our daddy, we are still coming, you know, up, you know, in the industry. You know, but I think like from the things that you wrote there, there's a lot of self-reflection, right?
Yeah.
A lot of looking inwards. And I think that I speak like a young person. I'm not going to talk like a married man. So I'm going to speak like a young person. You know? I think quite a number of us don't really sit down to look inwards, to look at ourselves. We have an opinion about who we are, and we're not honest enough to verify. We verify every other thing except ourselves. So you hear people say, oh, this is who I am. You have to take me as I am. But you're not asking yourself, if I take you as I am, what do I stand to lose or what do I stand to gain? There are a lot of concepts that people don't know or don't understand. They just take it at face value. For example, he said something about unconditional love as, love is work. You see, one of the things I say to people is this word control, right? You control your spouse and all of that. People see it as a very tough word. But when I listen to the word control, all I hear is responsibility, right? When somebody says, like my parents, for instance, when my parents says, oh, don't do that. They're not saying that as oppressors. They are saying that as, I love you so much and I'm responsible for how things turn out for you. I'm so concerned about you. When Coach Kemi says, oh, Obi, you need to tell me what to do, right? You need to tell me what time I'm doing this or not. And I'm like, why is this man screaming in my head like this now? Because I'm seeing it like oppression, right? But in essence, what she's trying to do is, I want you to get to a level where communication becomes easy for you. Sometimes in relationship as young people, we should understand the meaning of things before we react to them, right? So if somebody says, I love you, or you say to somebody, I love you, do you really know what you're saying? Can you really place what you're saying? Do you even believe what you're saying? Because when love comes, because love will test, I think it's 1 Corinthians 13 verse 4 that gives God's pattern of love, right? When it actually comes, that's when you realize that, this person, you need to go. I'm stressing my life already. This love thing, it be like, we'll keep up one side. The way we say it here, like, look, I cannot come and kill myself. I'm out of this thing, And you know, when you have an understanding of things like that, your perception changes. I used to say life is three things: perception, choices, and consequences. When you have a better perception of things, right? Of the things you say, the things you do, your choices are completely different and you enjoy better consequences, right? So for example, I use myself as an example. I used to be in a very, I mean, I don't think I've cried to anybody in this life more than Coach Kenny. I was crying every day, right? Because my heart was torn to pieces. It was breakfast served on platter of gold. It was steaming hot, you know. And this breakfast is not just come with, it was served in ways that will take you a while for the food to digest, you know. And I used to be with Coach Kemi every day, you know. I'll tell her a lot of things. She will scream, you know. But when you look back, there are a lot of things that should never have happened, right? For example, I'll take myself for example. When you meet somebody, and this is to young guys here now, when you meet somebody, understand that they are also on a journey, the same way you two are on a journey. They are learning as much as you are. Identifying flaws and standing on them can be a very big problem for you. Always pointing at problems can be a very big problem for you. I tell my partner today that, look, if you have a problem, it's not two of us that have the problem. It's not you that is the problem. It's not me that is the problem. We have a problem. So we bring it to the center. Okay, you didn't do this. Can we discuss it? It's not fight. Can we discuss it? Before, I would have said, I'll call you on the phone. You will not pick my call. You'll be talking to me. And you don't know what mood the person is saying. You don't know if they just had a bad day, you know. And them too not being in the mood to hear the nonsense that's coming out of your mouth and give you. And women don't have chills, man. You know, don't have chills. Like, are you talking to me like that? I saw something wrong with you, and you're like, why are you talking to me like that? Am I your mate? Is that oh, you want to do, you come and beat me now? Come on, and everybody started exchanging blow. You know, it could have just been that, okay, I called you, you didn't pick my calls, and then you listen to the person. Because you're not trying to fight, right? You're not trying to do all of that. You need to understand look inwards. What type of person am I? How do I react to situations? Will this benefit anybody around me? Would this be useful to anybody around me? If the best of the best were here, would they like what they see? These are questions you ask yourself, right? So if I'm with my partner and I want to yell, in my mind, if my father was here, my father looked at me like I'm a foolish person. If my mentor was here, my mentor would be like, you don't have control. If my audience were here, they would be like, you are a tiger. You are a fighter like this. So I would chill and relax and say, okay, this is what is on my mind. It takes a lot of training. Some days, I feel like the moment you say I love you to somebody, you've given them license to just do scatter things for you. You know? They will piss you off to levels that you are even asking yourself whether you've gotten to this level of annoyance before, right? Just because you said you love them. But you also have to understand that you're on a journey. They are also on a journey, right? The willingness. I was speaking to my father I think last month, June 4th, was 30 years in marriage. And I was asking him, so how have you guys stayed like best friends? Because my parents are the best example of marriage I have. They play like children to date. They are like small children. They laugh and chill and all of that. They are always playing. And so I asked him, how have you stayed in this thing that we've never seen you guys fight, never see you guys argue? It's almost like you guys don't have problems. And it's like, rule number 1, live to fight another day. Don't finish the fight. Live to fight another day. If it's getting too much, take the courage. It's paining you. Take the courage to step down. Right? You fight another day. Just let's move on from this. Right? You have to get to that place where you say, look, I'm not trying to win. I'm trying to love, right? I'm not trying to win you in an argument. We're not going to win any prize for hitting each other on the back, you know, saying hurtful things to each other. You have to get to that place. Number 2, and he said this to me as a guy, don't take what she says seriously. 90% of the things they say when they are pissed, they don't mean it. You don't have to attach meaning to it, right? If they say, You are a coconut head. You don't have sense. Ask yourself, where I am today, is it where somebody who doesn't have sense would be? If that's not it, you leave it alone. She says, oh, you don't care. You count how many times you've cared. You relax because she's just venting. That's how she knows how to react and all of that. Say, oh, you're just a heartless person. You touch your chest. Okay, I still have something there. I still have a heart. And you relax. You just relax yourself. When everywhere is calm, you have that conversation. Have your standards, your values, things you can't do, and make sure your partner knows that I can't do this, right? I can't do this. We can't speak to each other like this. You know, for example, now I don't know how to insult. It's a culture that I will never understand. So we young people, we do it. You know, you are a friend to a girl, and next thing you are like, look at you, are just a fool, idiot, you know. The thing doesn't make any sense to me. You know, they call themselves names and they say it's they are being sweet. Like you did not see any nice thing to say to me. Is that you are big head, big fish. You are just crazy. All the nice words in the world that speaks that you're calling me names, right? And I used to have a partner who, when she says things like that, and I say, I don't like it. She's like, you're being too tough. You are being too this, you are being too... I should have taken the cue before I even get into the relationship from day one. But I felt, oh, this person will understand my point. And it became a serious issue. So somebody can call you all sorts of names and expect you to be okay. You can't be swearing for me and be saying I should be fine in the name of pet's name. I'm not going to take it. So it's not even going to be possible. So when I was getting into a relationship, I made my partner say, ask her, so do you insult people for fun? She said, oh no, she doesn't call people names. And I said, yes. Yes, verified. You are good to go. Because I can't stand it. You see somebody be joking with you and call you Agbaya. That's how. What in my framework gave you the audacity to call me Agbaya? Like, what were we discussing that gave you that audacity to call me names and all of that? Have the things that your values. Help your partner communicate, right? Help communicate what you want with your partner. When things are getting tough, remember that this journey, there's something Mr. Bassey said. Was something about both of you. And when you fall in love, it's you either resign or you die, right? And it takes me back to what I said yesterday about God being the CEO of the global office. We are just managers. And the manager is never out of cash. Your job is to think your thoughts and proposals to God for what he wants to do. And you send in proposal, whatever amount you want to do, whatever thing you want to do. Remember that when you fall in love, they just gave you assistant manager. They added you manager to help your work. So when you're moving in this job and the thing is getting too much, instead of trying to wound this assistant manager, because the company will fail. So you don't want the company to fail. You sit down and discuss and ask us. I don't think there are CEOs and VPs in companies, when issues start coming out, they start backstabbing themselves. The company will crash. All the staff will walk away. Like, these people cannot even manage themselves. You have to get to that place where you have somebody you can talk to, or you sit down and talk to yourself. For guys here, please, 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 get a mentor, somebody that can talk to you. We are a very hot-headed set of human beings. You know, they hear words. Sometimes we stand our ground on things we don't even understand. Like, I did this thing for you. I did it, like what he was saying, that you did something, but this person doesn't know what you did. This person doesn't know what you did. And you are saying, after taking care of you, after doing this, you did this to me, you did this to me. Have somebody you can talk to, right? So that that person will be able to speak to you, because we can be stubborn. We can be really hopeless. For ladies, please, don't get involved with a guy that nobody can talk to. You know, there are some guys who sit down and say, nobody can talk to me. I'm a man of myself. You know, as a chairman, nobody can talk to me. I don't listen to anybody. Even my father cannot tell me what to do. Resist those kind of people. They are very stubborn. Because there are times in relationships that it will get to that point where nobody can talk to the two of you. But it's the mentorship that you're submitted under that will say, oh, okay, you guys should sit down. What is the challenge? They'll give you a better picture. Find people who have exactly what you want, right? Find people who have the results that you're looking for. Get close to them. Find people who have gone through the problems that you're looking for, that you're going through, and have the solution. I, for instance, like this, I have a mentor. Luckily for me, he's everything joined. So he's both my pastor, my business mentor, all of that, and marriage and all. When I have issues like that, I go to him and it's like, oh, no, you're being too emotional about the issue. What was said is different from what you're reacting to. This is what was said. And he knows this because he's been in marriage longer. He's heard women speak. He knows that 90% of the time, they just talk how they feel and all of that. You get into that space, right? This is for my guys. For ladies, I'm not a lady, but here's what I can say. Let's say go and find out how to be a man's peace. People think men, how to be a man's peace. People think men,
P-E-A-C.
yes, men like trouble. There's something, I think it was Pastor Chris who said, a man loves who serves him and who he serves. See that person facing him one-on-one, they will fight to death. They will fight to the teeth. So in as much as you're serving doesn't make you a slave. It just means that, okay, I'm under a particular kingdom, and these are the guidelines that we follow. So if you're serving them, and it's both ways, it goes both ways. Men serve the women, with protection. If I'm a king, for instance, I like to use Esther and King Xerxes, for instance. King Xerxes was king over 127 countries. You're not appearing before that guy like he's your classmate. He didn't kill people for fun for you to come and be saying, oh, good afternoon, sir. How are you doing, sir? Your head will leave your neck straight up. They don't joke with those kind of things. And where his queen, Vashti, got it wrong was she was trying to fight the system from outside. She didn't understand the role that she was playing. She didn't understand her crown. That look, I am queen over 127 countries. I can speak to my king in a respectful manner and still get what I want, right? I still get the things that I want. But what she did was they sent somebody to her and she sent the person back and told the king that me, I'm not coming. The advisors told him that, Chairman, this thing that this woman just, everybody will pick this thing, cut this thing now that does not germinate. Esther had the same problem. Esther's own was worse. But when she got there, she looked, what's the thing that makes a man happy? Food. And she kept cooking for 3 days, and the man was just enjoying. Only for him to turn back and see her man touching his babe, and what was it? That's all it took. She didn't even have to say anything, and the man went into full-blown action. As a lady, learn to be a man's peace. Find out what gives your man. Stop stressing. You are his happy place. We fight in the world. We go out, we fight office, we try to get money, we do all sorts of things. We're trying to understand, like when we come back to our happy place, trying to complain, trying to do what, we're not saying don't tell us how you feel, or if there's a problem, you don't discuss it with us, but be his happy place. Understand this guy. He's your guy. Stop comparison. You have to be able to, I think it was you that said, Coach Kemi, in every person, there's a prince and a fool. You will only see who you speak to. The person you speak to the most is who you're going to see. If you keep saying, you are not a good person, the way you behave, you can't talk, you are just lazy. I don't understand what you're trying to say, because you keep saying something and you are surprised you're saying it. But you say that a man is not doing well as he should. And every morning you wake up in the morning and say, but you're so amazing. I love the way you work so hard. Even if he's lazy, at some point in his life, let me not waste. This woman is always calling me hard worker. Let me start working hard. Start looking for ways to do something. So you not fall a hand like this. You come back, you praise him, He's sweet. There's nobody that you tell good things that push them away. Because people like to hear good things. But you're telling them they want to get it every day. Sometimes when they don't get it, they are finding out, did I offend you? Are we fighting? Are there issues? And you're like, oh no, I'm sorry, my baby. Amazing man. The man's like, tomorrow I have to go, higher and higher and higher. It's a partnership. It's together. If it gets too much, talk to God. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There's something I have learned. If you are for a man, a woman, but mostly men, whosoever they are to me, if I type in something on my phone to them, and I get the sense that don't write that, I erase it. Every time I have obeyed, I have seen why. Because if I had sent that thing, it would have hurt. So once you get a sense as a woman, don't send that. And also as a man, don't send that. Don't send it. Hey, I'm angry. Don't send it. Well, she needs to know. Don't send it. I do it right across the board with my kids, everybody. If I sense it, especially if I really want to write it and I get that sense, don't send it. That's not any of your 5 senses, by the way. So just respect it and obey it. The other thing is, one of you said you have to be trained. I think it was Victor. If you are not willing to be trained in the marriage school, don't get married. Don't destroy a woman's life or a man's life, and don't destroy yours. Because there are men who've been married. Uncle Victor is a great person to go to about marriage. First 3 years was crazy. After that, like, he's how did he introduce himself? One of the first 2 things he said is, I'm still in love with the same woman for the last 30 years. It takes a lot for a man to say that. And you have to make sure you keep it hot. I don't write those things just to be romantic. The plan is to keep it hot. It doesn't matter what your body looks like and where the wrinkles are. The plan in your thinking is to keep it hot and fresh. Read books. Look for, ask him questions. I remember my ex-husband, I noticed when we got into our 40s, he kind of slowed down on sexual intercourse. So I asked him why. I said, have I done something? Is something wrong? Not that he will stop for months or anything like that. I just noticed he just was not like on it. He said, well, it's just not the same. It's I'm not young like that anymore, so it's not a big deal. Am I correct, Mr. Victor? Does it reduce?
It's a complicated answer. So here's the thing.
Okay.
It's a complicated answer. So there's what happens to your body as you age. Okay, so the fact is, across the world right now, the amount of testosterone in men, over the fact that it's gone down for a number of reasons: the lack of activity, poor feeding, all of those kinds of stuff, they come in. So that's that. Second, the general attitude of unforgiveness.
Wow.
Within really, 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 really close relationships. Look, there's something that women don't understand. You think that good sex for the guy is that he had an ejaculation. Most women don't understand that guys can fake it just like you guys can fake it.
Wow.
Orgasm and ejaculation, they're 2 different things.
True.
Okay. I can ejaculate. It's just something that needs to come out. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you rocked my world.
Yeah,
I will be polite about it. I will do the grunts just like a woman will grunt about it. But they're not the same thing. And so, but most women don't know that. There's a case of a guy that I worked with. He was really, really into his wife. They had the first child. Everything was okay. He still felt that she was the best thing ever. But what happens with a woman from child to child is different hormonally. Most guys don't know that. Okay. So just because she was horny and couldn't have enough of you with this pregnancy does not mean that all pregnancies are going to be like that. They are very, very different. So this particular time, she's having a really, really difficult time. They're going at it. And then it's like it's taking too long. It's getting uncomfortable for him. She turns around, looks him in the eye, screams at him, "My friend, hurry up. What are you still doing there?" So this guy freezes. He doesn't know whether to stop or to continue. So he does the grunt thing and all of that, gets off her. She doesn't even look back. She just covers herself up and goes to sleep. 8 years, he didn't touch her again.
Oh, Jesus. What?
Now, here's the thing. He satisfies himself. He self-pleases with masturbation and porn. Okay, hold on. She can touch him. She can go down on him and all of that. He will not get an erection with her.
Wow.
It was a trauma response.
Yes.
8 years.
Yeah.
To know how hard that thing hit him. But put him in front of a pornographic movie or anything like, he doesn't cheat. Okay, put in front of a pornographic movie, let him touch himself, is rock hard. But with her, she can wear whatever she wants to do. She can go down on it, she can touch him. nothing. Okay, so the question of desire. I had a friend that had a conversation with me, and we were talking about men who sleep with their help, and she was like, "What about the quality?" I was like, "Look, that organ is the same across board. There's no such thing. It's the same."
Yeah.
Okay, but what makes it special is the connection that you have
Yes.
with the person that you're
Yes.
sharing this with. I've
Yeah.
had people who did not ejaculate, did not have an orgasm, but they were just with their wives sexually, and it was the most fulfilling experience they've had.
Yes.
Okay, so that happens. So a lot of times it's not so much a question of the tool isn't working. They're working in other circumstances, just not with this particular person. And it's all these pent-up things that contribute to it. The female equivalent of not being able to get it up is dryness. You can't get wet, you can't be lubricated down, and there is a medical condition just like that of a guy not being able to get his own up. It's just that for guys, that one is more obvious. Women, so you don't really see that. But the same thing, because sometimes how wet a woman is and all of that determines just how aroused she is and all of that. But if that's not working for the woman, there are women that things get so dry down there that penetration is difficult, it's painful, even if you're using lube. Okay. But more often than not, it's a psychological thing, just like it is with the guy. So that's why I say it's complicated. There's no like straight answer for all of that.
Yeah, that is Obi, you put your finger up. I hope you don't want to say anything. Good. Let me carry on. What I was saying. You didn't want to say anything, did you? Oh, yes, okay. So I said, if you think, thank you, Victor. If you think you shouldn't write, so ask him questions. I asked him, and you've got to be totally open, especially before you marry and after you marry. These things. Listen, if you're single, some people have been going. If you are too holy, holier than God, you can't listen to stuff about sex that God Himself created. Oh, He wasn't the devil. Then we have issues. You need to be talking about it as it is, understanding it, talking to people who've been there, the ones that have missed it and the ones that have not missed it. Those I work with young people, and so the church I was in the UK, I was one of the youth workers there, and so the leader decided to do something about marriage to teach the young people, and I didn't see my name to teach anything, so I went up to him because I'm divorced. So I said, do you not think that we should put a title, How Not to Get Divorced? Don't you think the young people need to know that? I've been on a journey, let me help you. He quickly puts it in the... Of course, everybody was shocked. Like, huh? Divorce? I said, so what else are we going? Let's talk about it. There were some things I did wrong, some things he did wrong, some things I did right, some things he did right. Let us talk about it. Let's talk to the kids now so they will know what's happening. We don't talk in church. We need to wake up. And these kids are finding out for themselves, and nobody's explaining what they're finding out. So there's stuff that they're getting wrong. So let's talk about it. The other thing is courage. Have it. Courage is a thought. Everything starts with a thought. It's simply a thought. I remember the part where I read and I said, I had an affair. When I wrote it, because when I write, it's either by inspiration or I want to write about this, let's write. And it just flows, or I have to read something, or I have to wait a while, get in the zone, or whatever you call it. Well, I like writing and I like being open and vulnerable. It's for me, it's freedom. All this, women, ladies, when you all there are 5 of you in a room, and maybe we're all getting ready for a wedding, and the woman that will go, maybe there's somebody like that here, she will go behind a curtain so that you will not see her nakedness, and I get irritated. And what's that? We all have it. What are you hiding? But some women are like that. I don't get it. I don't know about it, but I'm not like that. You look, oh, you don't look, oh, it's irrelevant to me. I'm dressing up. As long as you're not a man, and you are not, if you are my husband, I'm fine, but you are not my husband, so you are not seeing anything. But we are all women. See what you like, count it up. It's irrelevant. So have the courage. For me, that's courage. have the courage to just be you. Ask the questions, write it out. When I wrote Kemi Hannah, I said, oh, how many people are going to see this on Facebook? I said, frankly, I don't care. They don't need to talk to me. They can see me with a different light. So it's totally irrelevant. This is who I am. This is what I did. So if you read it and you've done it and nobody else has, at least you will know that it's okay. I'm still alive. My heart is still beating. Everything is fine. And sometimes you need to say these things so that you will help somebody else. You don't know who you are helping. Just say it. Just be. Just be. And then the other thing I want to say is about Victor. From the get-go, you can see the confidence. Some of us have to learn confidence by just watching other people and asking them questions to death. I can ask questions to infinity till I get it. Once I get it, okay, I'm done. All right, let's do our thinking exercise so we can go. Does anyone have any questions? At this stage, they tend not to have questions. They're just listening and making fun of one of us or just me. So yesterday, we did the feather and the book thing. Like the book, your hand was very heavy, even though it was just an imagination. And your left hand had the feather and you didn't feel any weight. But in our imagination, we were able to put books on our hands. We put 9 heavy books. And our imagination became our reality. It became a physical thing. We could feel it. So that is a law right across the board. Use it for anything and everything. In fact, you limit yourself if you live only within the level of your 5 senses. And that's what Victor has shared today. He left those senses and said, I'm going here. And there was something else he said. He said, where your future, there is no resemblance of it in the past. And that was one issue I had. I said, everybody's doing mindset. You are doing thought set. It's Kemi. And it was difficult because people didn't get it. And I didn't know how to explain it as I do today. But I've grown in it. So today, we're going to do 2 minutes. I can do it on my phone.
I have a question.
Ooh, hey, who is that? Namdi, was that you?
It's a question. Yes,
Oh.
yes, it's me. It's a question to Mr. Bassey, more like a request, right? I'm shooting my shot. So, so I don't know. I'm not talking to anybody. My life. How do I get access to this app? Because where you are now, we are coming here, but we need to follow Uno Road and pull our transport. So I hold my transport now.
I'm very accessible. On Facebook is the easiest way to get me. I don't do WhatsApp. I don't like WhatsApp.
Do you do IG?
Instagram. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm more on Facebook. But if you are on Telegram, that's my jam.
Okay. So how do I find your
on Instagram? It's Victor. Thanks. So on Instagram, it's Victor Ekpo Bassey. Let me put that here. Yes. So it's that. If you've gotten it, that means you'll be inside my community. Inside my community, you should be able to send me a private message directly. So that is available as well. But the easiest way for most people and pretty accessible, Facebook Messenger. Messenger. So
I'll do that. I'll text.
All right. No problem. No problem.
I thought that was a private link between Victor and I. Now he's sharing with everybody. I thought I had a private, like direct and inner. Yeah, but it's all right now. Namdi. And everybody are 33 people. Oh my goodness. I'm going
to when we turn 60, we'll be collecting a lot.
I'm going to be creating my own platform to reach him directly because I remember one day he came into my DM. I didn't know him. And he said, the 17 laws of success by Napoleon. Was it Napoleon Hill? You remember? You came into my DM and you said,
I don't remember that. I've harassed a lot of people.
You need to create a course on this. He didn't know.
Yeah. I remember. I remember that.
I didn't know what he was talking about. I was still admiring him. Like, how do people do all these things they're doing? I didn't know. So I pulled it up and I looked at it. I said, how am I supposed to create a course out of this? I don't even know what I'm doing. And in those days, I would not approach any coach. if I wasn't going to pay them. I thought it was rude or disrespectful. If they come and they offer their services, great. But if a coach goes to a coach, that's the way I think. And it's how much is it? Not tell me this, I help me. No, don't do that. That's disrespectful. So I didn't go back to him because I couldn't pay. I didn't go back. I didn't say, so how do you want to pay? And since then, I have it printed out, and I've been saying to myself, it's been a few years now, Kemi, just create a program. You know how to do that now. So just create a program. It was you. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
That was really helpful.
Thank you.
So let us put our hands up, but this time, let me put on the clock 2 minutes. I'll tell you when to start. If you were here yesterday, we just closed our eyes and we were thinking of something particular. But this time, based on what Victor has said today, I want you to think of where you want to be in terms of how much do you want to charge in your business? Or if you are working, what position do you want to occupy? Go there. If you are saying, oh, I mean, when I work with Black women in corporate and they say, yeah, I'm a senior manager now, I just want to be a director. I say, how many levels is that in your organization? 1. I say, we are doing 2. I don't have this, I don't have that. It's not relevant to me. It's this place. It's your thinking. Stop it. Let's go higher. And if they say they're looking for a job, what are you earning now? 80,000 pounds per annum. I can just go to 100. Can we do 150K, please? No, that's too much. I might not have to. Please. When you go for an interview, they are not going to give you the job because you have the skills and the qualifications. In UK, it's all about qualifications. Go and get a master's, and then they don't get the job. No, it's the way you show up. It's the confidence they see. When you say, no, I've not heard of that, I don't know how to do it, but I'm a learner. Now, if you hire me, I'm the one you've been looking for. I was watching a Nollywood movie last night, and this guy didn't get the job. And as he was walking out, he said, Ma, I know you said I don't have a laptop, blah, 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 but if you let me walk out of that door, you are missing the best employee. I called him back, and they gave him the job. He walked out the door. They ran after him on the road, and he got the job. There's something about your confidence. So look for where you want to be. If you're in business, what do you want to charge? Or what kind of clients do you want to work with? For my entire life, when Victor was talking about presidents, for my entire life, I've always seen myself work with 500, Fortune 500 companies. I've seen myself sit on the board. I've had all kinds of insight, but I've realized the reason I have not till date is, well, I have now, but the reason I have not as much as I should have or could have was because I wasn't charging right. And I kind of held myself back. Like, what would they know? But the first CEO that hired me, without knowing me, he met me, gave me what I went to collect. It was his brother to one of my friends. He lives in the UK. He brought it down for me. And he asked me a few questions. Please, we need to work with you. That was it. It was not, they introduced me to more CEOs in the fintech sector, here and in the UK. So, and like Victor said, once you get one, it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. Okay. So I want you to think about it. Who do you want to work with? How much do you want to charge people? If you go to the wrong clients and you say it's $150,000 to work with me for a year, they can't pay you. They will say no. And some will not say no. They'll be like the billionaire that came back himself and just put money in their account. So close your eyes and decide where you want to be. When I finish talking, then the 2 minutes will start. Decide where you want to be in business, in terms of your earning power. Because even though there is AI is not you. You are better and bigger than AI. AI can only give you what has been fed into it. But you can create every single time. So think up right now where you want to be. So that I'm saying that because you need to go higher than where you are and not a bit, because the power it's not by your power, it's not by your might. That's physical stuff. We are going beyond those senses into thinking spiritually. So put that in your mind where you want to be. In terms of how much you want to earn, what position you want to be if you're in business, or maybe you want your marriage, whatever it is. Keep that thought. And now, see it now. If you want a house, in Lekki, for example, and it will cost you 100 million naira. What do you need? Do you need the house or do you need the money to buy the house? What's the answer? Is it the house you want or the money to buy the house? Which one should you focus on? I want to see an answer, at least one answer. That will help me know whether you've understood what we've been talking about or not. Is it the house you want or the money that will buy the house? The house. Yeah, well, Mutupela, you would know. So you focus on the house, not the money. That would just mess you up. I want to marry the house, the house. So it's not, hey, the money. Start thinking the money to buy. That's not important. It's not how. It doesn't matter. You can save for 100 years. You reach 100 million naira. So why bother? Why don't you bring it in through the way you think? So close your eyes. Your eyes needs to be closed so that you avoid um distraction. Some people can do it with their eyes open. You need to have been practicing this for a while to do that. And then see what you want and go through the whole process. 2 minutes start now. See yourself in the house. See the kitchen. See the decor. See the stairwell going upstairs. See you sitting in that position as CEO or whatever it is. See you working with those clients and they are each paying you $100,000 per month or whatever it is. See the whole process and go over it again and go in detail. Don't do just one. Detail. Are the clients all female, all male, one female, one? Who are they? All right. That's 2 minutes gone. That's 2 minutes gone. Anybody else here? We are 29 here. I had a full-blown conversation at a boardroom table. Somebody on the board table said, so Kemi, what is the solution to this? We've had this problem for 2 decades. You said you're a solutionist. You said whatever our problem is. I said, well, there's somebody sitting around this table who does not believe in that thing that you want to do. That person is the one that says, well, let's see. Okay, let's try. Well, I said, somebody knows who that person is. Either you own up, or it was a full-blown conversation, and nobody said anything. Then the person said, it's me. And it was a female. It was female. And I said, why do you do that? Well, I don't want us to lose money. I think it's a bit risky. I don't want the business to fold up. I said, well, the business will fold up because of how you're thinking. The risk will show up because of how you're thinking, because you are inviting it. You are saying, happen by your thinking. You are attracting it. And everything you are thinking, I said, so what we need to do is to remove her from the board. I just said it with my full chest. And they're like, I said, if you want to go forward, it's either she aligns with everybody else saying, let's go for it, or we remove her from the board, because you will never achieve this. Can two work together except they be agreed? Your very cells must be in agreement. The reason people have cancer is because the cells are no longer in agreement. So they are not working together. They are fighting themselves. And that starts with a thought. Cancer is a thought. you invite it. And depending on what part of your body, it will cause stress, it will cause illnesses. Is a matter of how you think. I have mastered that in my life. So whatever this chooses to visit, which was something on Sunday, my nose was running, everything. I woke up Monday morning and I don't use medication. I was healed, so healed. Even now, as I keep talking about it, it's like nothing happened. You know how you feel the vestiges of the illness, the cold, nothing. Because I kept seeing my body whole. I spoke to myself. I said, behave. You are working together. Now you can't say behave to yourselves if your thinking is different. But it's the flu season. You know, it's malaria. They were biting me. Yes, they will keep you. The disease will increase. This is a lack of ease. Ease that's dist. Your body is no longer at ease, and you cause that because every thought becomes it manifests materially, naturally. It just shows up as if it becomes something you can hold, and that's your lowest level of energy. Does anybody else want to share what happened when they were there? A few people shared yesterday, still amazing me. Anybody want to share? Anybody want to unmute? Mr. Victor, did anything come to you? He's going to say, yeah, I'm going to now sell at 1 million. Let's see how.
It came really, really clearly. So
wow.
29 September 2024. The current rate for Tribe Masters, the lower cadre of the program that helps people move from 0 to 3,000 a day, I'm taking it to 3K. So the same amount of money. Right now, I make it available to people for 1,500, but I'm going to double it and send it to 3,000, and then bring in 100 people into that particular program. The higher cadre of it, the one directly above that, at this particular point in time, it's about 5. I'm doubling that as well. So it's now 10, but I'm not going to be a part of the program. There will be no sessions for that, but I'm also going to add a third tier to that. That will be about 75. And that would be like for a small core group of people who really, really know what they want for themselves. And then we'll just basically have a lot of fun together. So I was going through all of that and it felt really, really good.
And
really,
you saw
really, really,
all
really good.
that in 2
Like
minutes.
I lived all of that. When you said it's 2 minutes, we should come back, it was slightly annoying. But
I love you. I wish I grew up with you. I would have just been fighting with you every day. Why are you so just plain like that? Drop. Why? I love you for it. Absolutely. How do your clients deal?
It's a madhouse.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that. Definitely, I can't believe that. Thank you so much for sharing. Did you hear the first thing he said? He said, it came to me very clearly. That's where you should live. Don't live within the limits and confines, limiting beliefs. I don't even know what that is. It's not in my vocabulary. Yes, Zero Noik, you said you were going to share. Is that your name? Zero Noik? Because Zero Ink. For these Nigerians.
Or Zero Ink.
Is it Zero Ink? Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm guessing.
The host is allowing me to unmute. Okay, Zero Ink, sorry. So where is Zero Ink? Is at the bottom. Okay, there it is. All right, so we ask you to unmute. I've clicked.
Okay. Good evening.
And it's female. I thought you
were male. No.
And she has such a nice voice.
Nice, cute voice. Yeah. So
Thank
share,
you.
Please share.
Okay. So I have so much respect for the both of you. I've never met any of you until this meeting, but I'm so glad that SMO brought this to me. So during the 2 minutes exercise, so for a bit of a backstory, I'm actually in my early 20s, very early 20s. As a matter of fact, I'm graduating in a few months. So one thing that has really struck me is how it feels like there isn't a particular voice as a sort of big sister voice. And I say this based largely off of my experience as a firstborn daughter in the typical Nigerian household, and it felt, I don't know why I'm moved to tears, forgive me. But it felt like a lot of the times I had to look outside of myself or look straight to God, because most of the people around me, and sadly even my primary caregivers, they were just not the people I wanted to be. My environment was primarily never where I wanted to be. Right. So during the exercise, I saw myself as the big sister of the nation. It was so vivid. It was like back when the Igbos used to live in compounds, and there would be the main house, and it just felt like I would house so many people, and there would be places where I could just stroll because I like being alone. But at the same time, I want to help so many people. I want to house people, and then I can just wake up one morning and say, let me go for a stroll. And then I can go. I say, oh, how are you doing? How's that project you're working on? And it takes a lot of funding for that to happen. So I have to get back on my Zoom. I have to. It's been really beautiful. Thank you so,
Oh,
so much.
oh, thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing. That is so, so lovely. Anybody else? We take one more person and we're done. Oh, Victor, you're such a darling. Thank you for staying so long and with a
I
smile.
wanna
It's a real smile too.
I wanna go.
Yes. Oh, please.
Yeah.
We need to
So for
see
me,
you.
hello. Don't scare me
What
on my
is he going
face.
to do? It's usually a click. Oh, thank you. Thanks. SMO. Zero Ink is
Okay.
saying the same thing.
Yes. Okay. So for me, it's this conversation tonight that scattered my head, right?
Thank
Because
you, Victor.
let me explain is I've done while he was talking, he said it's not good to lie on the internet. And I can dig out anybody I want to dig out from the internet. If you give me the honor, sir, I want to rebuild highly paid networks for you. It's not going.
You
If
want
it's not
to
available, highly paid networks.com is not
so
active.
no, it's not. So we've taken it off the internet. A partner of mine
Okay.
runs it now as an offline mastermind for high level
Okay.
people. So that's the reason why you won't find it. But if you had looked at it about a year ago, you would have found every single asset about it.
Oh.
But we've taken it off. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So for me, this whole thing, like this entire meeting today, stretched my mind. There are a lot of things I want to do, but I've not really come into that place where I see people talk about these things and they are normal. Like if you look at him now, he's very simple. There's no excessive
Yes,
thing to
yes.
him, and he's doing 150K. 150K can get me any house I want to buy now, 5-bedroom flat. You understand? So, and when you said we should close our eyes, at first I was like, Coach Kemi has come again. Well, I closed my eyes and first I could see myself on stages,
Come
right?
on.
Speaking to like people and then moving with the people I want to be like, right? And then the house. I've had this picture of two things in my mind. It's a 5-bedroom house. It's a duplex, very big. I like space. I'm an Igbo man. I like space. And the Mercedes-Benz GLE 53 is mad, right? So when I saw that and then see myself learning and practicing and actually getting the results. But before you close it up, I was having a discussion with somebody. The question I was asking the person was, what bank do they want to send it to? Which was when you now said, what bank do they want to transfer what I was asking
Wow.
for? Yes,
Yeah.
and
Come
then you said
on.
we should end it. So thank you for this. Thank you, Mr. Victor. I just sent you a friend request on Facebook. So hopefully
Yeah.
you
I
accept.
saw that. I'm sending you another one because the account you sent to was the account I opened after Facebook locked me out during the pandemic. So I'm not
Okay.
really that frequent on that account, but I'm sending you a request now from this one.
Okay. This
Okay.
is getting
Thank you
serious.
very
So,
much.
because, I thought I had personal VIP access Like there was one particular private road that leads to him. Nobody, hey, 30 people. Ah, Jesus. Namdi, I will see you. I will see you online. I will see you. If I will see you face to face very soon. The Lord is with you
Thank you, ma'am.
guys. Remember not
Thank you
to be
very much.
religious. You're most welcome, sir. Don't be religious. Tomorrow is the finale. We have Steve Harris. We have Dr. Akaiso. And we have Jane Oma. Mr. Victor, you mentioned the Telegram
Ooh,
channel.
yeah.
Yeah, somebody's saying. Somebody sent me to, I sent you a friend request, sir, on Facebook. All of you, stop it. The book. But you've told him to do a different cover, Namdi.
Yes, but okay, so on tomorrow, which is the grand finale, Coach Kem is going to be giving out 100 quotes, how to think quotes tomorrow. You need to get it, like you need to get it tomorrow. So don't miss it. Tell your friends. It's going to be available for download on our website very soon. So be here tomorrow. We're going to be giving it out tomorrow. And she's also going to, for those of you who don't want these 5 days to finish, she's also going to be sharing things you can join and all of that, and you get access to her. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Bassey, for this evening. This was, you stretched me. You know, now I've seen where I want to get to, and you know, and we're going to follow it up. Thank you so much. It's been amazing. God bless you, sir.
Have you typed in the Telegram channel? Because a few people are asking.
Okay, so on Telegram, I'm known as Chief Tribe Master.
Okay.
So I just put that there.
Okay. And somebody said I've sent you a friend request as well.
On Facebook or where?
Where did they say? I think Facebook. I think it was Hope. Hope, yeah. Yes.
Facebook.
A friend request, yeah, on Facebook. Me too. I sent you a friend request, Hope Akuso.
Okay.
Got that? All right. Well, thank you everyone for sharing turning 60 with me. Tomorrow, come in. I would like to hear testimonials, if we can call it that. People put on their cameras and invite your friends. Let's do this together. Namdi said, Namdi is Obi, the same person here. We give him many names, but he said, we are just going to make impact. I said, no, I want to make money. He said, we're not doing it like that. We are making impact. I thought, yeah, that's true. Let me make impact. I've always been the one thinking, oh, what legacy am I leaving? I've not done anything. But thanks to him, we are doing this. Thank you, Namdi. You know you're a special guy. After we got on here, I sent him a private message and I said, you do know I love you. And he said, what did I do? I said, you didn't do anything. I just want you to know that I love you. He said, it sounds one way that, have I done something? I said, no, I've told you before I love you. I'm just reminding you. I felt that I needed to tell him that. This is being recorded. I felt. And do you know what he said at the end? He said, thank you. I needed to hear that. It's so calming. You know, you look at our men and you think they're just macho. He's 6'4", he's huge. Yeah, macho. But he said that is calming. Dr. Atiba said the same thing. He said, my wife can't be coming in every day. You're my knight in shining armor. You are the king. When you go out there, you conquer. He said, there is no way. I will keep hearing that and I won't conquer. He said, it's not possible. And love is the strongest, is the highest, most elevated emotion ever. It's stronger than all this negative stuff. Say what you need to say to our men. Say it. They're your brother, your uncle, your sister, your friend. Our men need it. We don't say it enough. In Africa and apparently in the world, we have the highest level of male suicide between the ages of 16 and 60 in Nigeria. Come on, man. Our men are great. God bless you all for this. Thank you all so much for your time. Happy birthday, Coach K. Thank you. It's been sweet growing pains, getting to know you and all you. I don't know what that means, so I don't know, but I don't understand. But we are looking forward to 60. So you do know on Sunday when I turned 60, that'd be 60, and on Monday that'd be 60 years and 1 day. Okay, all right. I was expecting somebody to say, wow, voice. All right. Thank you, everybody. We're so late today. Victor Ekpo Bassey. I love you, man. I did yesterday. Puff, fried plantain, everything, freshly baked bread. Does not even feature. when you are there. Thank you all for this evening. God bless you. I missed an online class for this meeting, but it's worth every bit of it. Wow. That's high priest. Thank you for coming, Joseph. Well,
Nice.
if Victor Ekpo Bassey is somewhere and SalesManObi somewhere, how can we not be here? Myself, I took notes. Thank you so much, everybody. Stay strong. We are sharing the videos, the recordings after the last day. That's in Namdi's hand. I do what I'm told. Stay strong, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Bassey.
All right,
All
then.
right.
Take care.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.